Greetings. All right, we're going to see if this works. First time trying this, so can't expect it to be perfect. But here's what we've got today. Okay, work. What we're going to talk about today is the dignity of labor. That labor or work has value. Even though it is a hard thing, it's something that maybe we don't think of as being a gift, it matters a great deal. One, because we need it to be able to support ourselves and to support our families. Two, because it's really through work that in the end we are able to express ourselves, express our personalities, develop as a human being, and be able to contribute to society, better said, to express and fulfill who we are and our skills and our gifts and our talents, use our time to produce something of value. So, forward. Pope John Paul II especially has written on work. Other popes have too. Pope Leo XIII, back in the late 1800s, wrote the first social encyclical called Rerum Novarum. He talked about work in there. But Pope John Paul II brought up these two distinctions. Actually, I'm not sure exactly where my little picture is going to be when I produce it. So I think maybe instead of pointing there, I need to point there. No, actually, I think I need to point there, and that should get us there. Okay, so up there, you see we have the objective dimension of work and the subjective dimension of work. The objective dimension of work has to do with what is being worked on. Back in the last picture, you see here this, this wooden image of the Last Supper. That's what has been created. That's what has been worked on. And then up there, you have this man who is the one creating such a wooden image of the Last Supper. The subjective dimension has to do with him, the subject, the one who is working. The object is what is being worked on. The subject is the one who is doing the work. Pope John Paul II distinguishes these two dimensions, trying to understand work and its importance for human beings. The objective dimension. This is about the object, what is being worked on. A little picture of the tractor. You see the farmland being worked on, being worked in such a way that it will produce food that you and I can eat, even though we don't always think about it coming from a farm. In fact, most of what we eat does. So we depend on that labor for our food. This is work under the aspect of being given dominion over the earth by God. In Genesis, God said, "Go have dominion over the birds of the air, over the fish of the sea." Through that dominion, we were able to take what is there in the earth and use it for our needs. This is how we are able to live and to live well. If you did not have work, if you did not have labor, you could not have a house, you could not have a car, you could not have food, you could not have iPhones, you could not have silly string, you could not have anything else that makes life worth living or even just stay alive. So work is necessary, obviously, for us to continue to exist. Someone needs to be able to work in order to support themselves and to support their family. Their work that actually contributes to the common good, making something that other people use as well, also comes back to the person who is working in the form of either wages, or if they own their own business, the direct profits of what they are making and selling. And in that way, they're able to support themselves, support their family. So it's absolutely necessary in that way. The subjective dimension. This focuses on the subject. That is the person. The person is the subject of work. You're working on something else. You're working on wood, carving it up. But who's doing that? A human being. They are the subject of work. Pope John Paul II says that human beings are the proper subject of work, not fish, not birds. Granted, they do things, they achieve things, but they don't do those things with planning and reason. They don't do those things with creativity and freedom in the way that human beings, made in the image and likeness of God, do. A bird makes the same sort of nest that all the rest of the species makes. A fish, whatever fish do, fish eat, fish sleep. They do those things that fish normally do. Mostly they just swim. You see them all day in my classroom. They chase each other sometimes. Okay. Um, Foxes make dens. They don't make skyscrapers. Human beings do, because we are creators. We are workers in the proper sense, sharers in the creativity of God. By sharing in God's creative action, we are able to develop and express our humanity, express our particular personalities, our particular persons, and grow into the stature of being fully human. That's why work matters so much. When a carpenter is able to use his or her skills to make something really beautiful, like the Last Supper we saw in an earlier picture, that carpenter is fulfilled by doing this. By learning all the skills, he becomes more of a human being. By being able to produce something beautiful, he or she is able to rejoice in what is produced and say, wow, what an amazing thing that I was able to take part in creating this. In the same way, the farmer who looks at the produce of his fields and rejoices, yes, I made these different things. A student who has worked hard and created something really awesome, maybe an awesome paper. I don't know if you rejoice in that. I rejoice in that when I get a paper that is awesome, in the midst of other papers that are not as awesome. A teacher can rejoice in doing work when he sees a student begin to respond and to understand and to see what is going on with their studies. And so through work, we take part in the whole community of human beings. We engage and share in the work for the common good. And we then find our fulfillment and delight as a human person largely through work. It can also be difficult, can be a drudgery. We like snow days to be off, but work is a good thing. So what? Okay, big deal. Objective dimension, subjective dimension. What are the conclusions of this? Well, consequences of the objective dimension of work. One, workers need to be paid a just wage. They are working to support themselves and their families. If they're not paid in a way that is adequate to support themselves and their families, really they are being cheated out of their hard labor, their hard work. This assumes that they are working hard, that they're working skillfully, they're not just being lazy. That could be a reason to not be paid as much or to be let go, certainly. But for someone who is working hard, they deserve, as a result of their labor, an adequate payback to support themselves, to support their family. That's a just wage. There's a right to work. A society should strive to create as many opportunities for work as possible. Now, obviously, that doesn't just mean making things up. It means setting up situations where productive work can really happen. All the technology that we have in the modern world is very good, it's very important, but there's a difficulty with it. And the difficulty is that all of the technology can take jobs away from people. I don't always know what the answer is there. We do need to develop technology, but if all the cashiers at a grocery store are replaced by machines, possibly that frees the cashiers up to do more fruitful work. I'm not sure that's always the most fun work to do, but at the same time, it means that they may not be working at all. So we're giving to machines what human beings could do and cutting people out of a job. I don't always know the answer to that, but I think it's something to consider, that we don't always take away productive work from people to give to machines. And then consequences of the subjective dimension of work. As far as possible, all people should be able to have a share in the means of production, as you see up there. Means of production means like owning your own carpenter shop instead of just being someone in the process of a factory who makes this one little thing, screws one little nut onto a bolt and does the same thing 1,000 times every day for 40 years. That would be an awful way to live. Every person should have a share in the production of things as far as that is possible, because there is much greater satisfaction, personal expression in being able to bring a block of wood into something beautiful, much greater satisfaction in that than in just doing the same little nut and bolt for a bigger piece, a bigger car or something like that, that you're never going to see or benefit from. Anyway, one thing to do in factories, by the way, is that some places they'll actually give partial shares in ownership to all of the employees. It's kind of a good idea. Sometimes I think it can just be sort of a technicality, but it's a good idea in the sense that if all are sharing in the profits, at least there is some benefit in the whole for the worker and not just the wage that they get paid. Work is something that's for man. Man is not for work. We should not be enslaved to our work. Rather, work should be something that can truly be freeing and liberating as we develop our capacities, as we do great things through our work. And so a society should be set up that recognizes that work is for man, not man just a slave to their toil every day. And then this famous picture, these guys hanging out on an I-beam way up above the ground. That would be kind of awesome, as well as kind of scary. Work has dignity, has an objective dimension. What is being worked on is necessary that we work on the earth so that we can have what we need. But it also has a subjective dimension. And that subjective dimension of work has to do with expressing our personality, developing who we are as human beings through our work. We should have a society that recognizes both of those values and tries to make them as active as possible. God bless you.